Hello everyone, we're back on the 70 Beetle, and we are going to start working on the electrical system, or the spaghetti system as Muir called it. So let's start in the back. I've already run my wiring harness, of course, and it's coming out of that hole right there. I run it up through there like that, up through the body, and then it comes out that hole. So here's the portion that goes up front. There are some wires cut and whatnot like that. We'll have to fix those. That's not a real big problem. And in order to get it through that hole, I taped up those wires going back there where the generator is, or where the voltage regulator is. So let's start back here, and I've got some things laid out. I got my soldering iron heating up, and I got my torch and quick connectors and the book and stuff. The wires that we're going to concentrate on right now is the big generator wire, which is going to go right there. The smaller generator wire, which is green, and that's going to go there. The tan or the brown wire, which is the ground, which will go there. Then there's a power wire, and it will go to the distributor on this side right here. I have a small harness already hooked up for my choke and for my electric cutoff. And then also this wire here is going to go on a fuse, and the fuse is supposed to be held right here. It's going to go over and it's going to connect to the other side of that coil as well. And then we have a single blue wire right here, and this is our oil pressure light, which is going to come down and attach to that terminal there. So let me get some terminals soldered on, and we'll come back and look at what I've done. Okay, well, you think you're going to do something, but you're not. I got to looking at this, and it's like, gee, I want these 3 big goofy bear wires dancing all over the engine like that. Nah, I don't want them like that. I want them black. I want them all encased. So what I need is some big heat shrink, but I need about 2 feet of it. So I'm going to have to order some. And I want it really clean. I want it to go right over the end of that. And then I want to open a hole in the heat shrink and have these 2 wires come out, and have them, I'll shrink them up to about here. And then the one can go to the coil and the other one can go down as bare wires. But this stuff right here dangling and dancing all over the engine, no, that looks terrible. So let me go order some heat shrink, and I'll be right back. And what we'll do is we'll go inside and we'll start working around where the voltage regulator is. To make this a bit nicer, I'm going to put heat shrink over it. That way, A, it'll be protected. B, all the wires will be in one harness, kind of a thing, and it'll look a lot nicer. I'm going to have to do this piece in 2 sections because it's awful difficult to get one section. This is a long piece of heat shrink, and trying to shove that all on there is difficult. Anyways, we're going to put that up there, and then we're going to put another piece over the top of it and the harness that came out and the heat shrink that I have around these, so it all kind of melds together and it looks really nice. These are the wires going to my generator. And I'm going to solder these terminals on so they're not pinch-on terminals. Takes a little while to do this. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to fill that little bucket up too with solder once I get it attached. And so this is awful fidgety. So I'm gonna shut this off and I'll do the rest of them. I'll show you when I get done. Well, there they are. I won't be doing that again. That was a lot of valuable solder and ends I really didn't need. I could crimp them on there, but they do look nice. They do look nice. Man, the rest of the stuff I'm crimping on. Sorry. Incidentally, I did lay another piece of heat shrink right here and right here where it might rub, just as an additional precaution. The green terminal has a slip-on and the red terminal has a ring. So essentially this is pinched right here for a reason. It's so you can't get the terminals mixed up. You see, the exciter for the generator and the output, you can't get them mixed up. Pretty clever, huh? All right, all done. I don't exactly like that, but it's okay. That's fine. Next, we're going to work on our backup light circuit, our reverse light. The reverse lights come out. Let's see if you can see it. See that little grommet right there? Right there. There's two wires coming out of it, and they go to a switch on the transmission. This wire right here is the wire that feeds the tail lights, that feed the actual reverse lights. So one of these wires, if you follow it, comes down to a fuse holder. And the fuse holder holds like a little ceramic fuse. It's plastic. And you want to use a white one, not a red one. You want to use an 8 amp and not a 16. You put it in there and you follow it around, and it should have an end that goes on the power side, and there's a 3-prong, 1, 2, and the one in the back is the one that connects to that for the power. So essentially it has power going to it, and then when you step on the brake, it completes the switch and the lights come on. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's get a connector on that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put connectors. I'm not going to solder this, so you can just disconnect it. Put a connector on that one back there. I'll cut that wire down. This is real long. Just, I just threw it back there and I have to adjust the wire length. So we'll put 2 connectors on there so you can disconnect it, and that'll be just fine. Okay, with everything, it's trust but verify. So I've got it hooked in reverse. I've got our positive that would go to our coil. I've got our light bezel grounded, and battery charger, which we are going to plug in now. And we do have backup lights, which is great. That's terrific. Okay, so that circuit does work. The switch works, the wiring works, the lights work, the ground works. Yay! You got to go piece by piece by piece and verify everything. And then that way, when you get in the car, there isn't any problems, or very little problems anyways. Let me give you a troubleshoot scenario, okay, for your backup lights. Okay, troubleshoot scenario. What you want to do is you want to start with the obvious, the stuff that you don't have to take apart. And that's going to be your positive wire that goes to your coil. So you want to find that. Yep, okay, it's good. And then you want to find your fuse holder, okay, because that only takes a minute. So you take your fuse holder apart and see if the fuse is blown or if it's good. If that's good, then you probably have, if both bulbs are out, you probably have a bad backup light switch or one of the wires has come off. So you need to crawl up underneath the car, see if the wires have come off. If none of them have come off, pull the wires off, put a meter on it, have somebody hook it in reverse and then neutral, reverse, neutral, and see if the meter swings any. Ohm meter. See if it swings any. If that works, then you've got either blown taillight bulbs. Something happened there. Just as I said. Just as I said, it went out. Isn't that funny? Okay, let's find out what's wrong. Pretty cool, huh? Both of our bulbs are out. Okay, we have power going to that. I'm suspecting the fuse blew because it's too weak, but it might be the backup light switch in the transmission, just might be sticky. So let me go wrench that around a little bit and see if the lights come on. If they come on, holler, okay? Did I lose my... Maybe I lost my power. You working now? Nope. Maybe I lost my power in my... Maybe I had a circuit breaker blow. I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see if we got power. Yeah, we got power. Okay, I'm going to guess that it's this fuse. Maybe it's that fire smell I smell. Well, now they work now. Okay, I took this fuse holder down, so let's kind of fidget around with the fuse holder. Huh. All right, well, we'll have to watch that and see if that does it again. It's probably a ground. Okay, back to our troubleshooting. It's either the bulbs that would be bad, both of them, or your ground is gone. And a lot of the times in these old cars, everything is a ground. Every problem is a ground. That was probably pretty wacky how that worked, huh? Right there. That's kind of odd. Okay, well, good that happened though. Everybody can learn something from that. Yeah. All right. All right, I don't necessarily like this because it rattles around a little bit, so I might do something with that later on when I finish the engine. Dirty. But there's a hole right here, and that hole might be a clip or something that holds this, and then the wiring goes through that. Maybe one of you guys know. You can comment in the section, let me know where that goes. I put a piece of heat shrink underneath this so that there's no rubbing going on. There you go. That's relatively clean. Our power wire for a coil, I dropped it right here and I brought it up to here, and then our oil pressure sending unit light or wire will go right there. That's all right. That should be just fine. So this is shaping up really nice. Okay, we're done with this area. Let's go inside and have a look where the voltage regulator goes. Before we get back there and look in the wiring to the voltage regulator, we should probably examine our voltage regulators. I have two, so I don't know which one came from which car. This one seems to be much newer. So let's do some examination here. Let me get some examining glasses. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Sonny. I can't see what I'm seeing. Let's see here. Are we even looking at what I'm looking at? Okay, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, let me set you right about there. All right, let's have a look here. I don't know what that is. That looks like a piece of, like a screw or something. There's a screw right there. This little diode right here doesn't look bad. All the wires going to that, they look all right. None of them are broke off or anything. Why don't you just buy a new voltage regulator? Yeah, you don't have to. Okay. This one's a little kind of corroded, kind of. So we'll have a look at it. There's a screw on the top here, so let me scratch this off. I'll use this one for the guinea pig because this one looks nicer, and I'll try to take this one apart first to take a look at it. But I'm interested in the insides to see if they're burnt up, and more importantly, the contacts, because there's little points that open and close in there, if they're corroded or not. We might even run a piece of emery cloth on them. Okay, so I got a pair of vice grips on there, but I didn't get close to that that diode, and I managed to break that loose. This one has a Phillips on it. This one has a straight slot on it. So you can imagine the Phillips was a little bit harder to get undone. Didn't have quite the bite that the straight slot had. Looks like I still have to get vice grips on that. Good God. Let's see if I can. Okay, I'm going to go back in. All right, I'm going to come back out again. I think I'm going to file a straight slot into this screw because this is a bad deal hanging up like it, unless I got into the threads with that. All right, let me work on this a little bit. I'll be right back with you. I finally got the screw out. Look at the rust on it. All this came out of the inside. Oh, savage. Look at that. This is just absolute toast. Just crusty toast. This has been underwater. Yeah. Okay. It's had lots of water on it. Yeah. Let's see if we can't clean this up. I hope the other one's a little bit better shape. Now I have another one in the other car. I think I even have one out in the garage. I have another voltage regulator. This one looks really clean, like it's been replaced before. Probably has. Nice and clean. Got quite a seal here. Okay, let me try to get this pried apart and be back with you. Well, that was simple. Nice seal there. It's a little corrosion in it. Not really bad though. Not like that other thing. This one looks like it probably would work just fine. Contacts right there. And here's a little contact right here that we have. Right there. And we have another little contact right here. And it's on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip a piece of, I'm going to slip a giant Frank Billsboro file in the middle of this. All right, I'm just going to use a little emery cloth and clean these three contacts up. This side, this side, this side, this side. So 6 surfaces. Okay, and then I'm going to do maybe a little spray and a little brush, a little brake parts cleaner, and then there you go. Fossil evidence. See that right there? That is not blue. It's definitely green wire. I'm going to leave that on there. Take it off first. Yeah. Put that back on. That's green wire. So the wire that goes on there is green. This is probably the other side of that signal. So this obviously looks like a ground. Those are your 2 power wires. This is your wire that comes from your generator. This is your wire that comes from your battery. This is the wire, I'll bet you, that goes up to the front. So, okay. Good. Let's put this cap back on and we're good to go. Since this sets on the driver's side rear right close to the corner of the seat, I'm going to put a little brown 25 on the screw. And then that way, if little Muffy drops her 44-ounce Coca-Cola on it, it doesn't funnel it directly into the voltage regulator. Just trying to give it every chance it's got. So we're inside the car, and the wiring harness comes through this hole, but I've got all the spare wires, or all the spare wires, the wires that go into the voltage regulator and whatnot. I've got them taped up so I was able to draw it through here. So let me untape that and we'll see what we have. Okay. We're going to play Odd Man Out here. What does Sherlock Holmes play? It's, you know. He gets rid of all the obvious, and then whatever's not the obvious, I can't think of the. So, let's see here. This wire here is going to plug into my battery right here, which I have taped up for obvious reasons. That's factory, has not been messed with. All right. And it's going into the cab. It's going. Yeah, that's going in. Okay. This wire here is coming from the generator, and it has a ring terminal on it. It also has a little mouse damage I'm going to have to repair. There's no wire damage, but the insulation's off of it. We'll have to put some heat shrink on it. There is a ring terminal right here, and it goes right to that diode. Okay, so that's coming from the generator. Here's our ground. Of course, it's going to go right here on the ground. This wire is green and blue. I don't know. That's coming from out there, though. Okay. Well, that's a light wire, that's a light wire, that's a light wire, that's a light wire. That green and blue right there, that's your oil pressure light. That's another light wire. And that's your power wire going to coil. This wire here is coming from the generator. This is the exciter wire for your field, and it goes right there. Now, this wiring harness and this voltage regulator don't go together, but yeah. The blue one, what is that blue one for? Don't know. What's this one for? Don't know. Blue. That red is going to connect to there. Why is there two there, though? What am I missing? Oh! No? No. Oh, I know what I'm missing. This wire right here does not plug into this. This wire here plugs directly into the voltage regulator. Right there. Then this wire plugs directly into the voltage regulator right there. And then the pickup from the generator is over there. Here's the exciter, goes there. Ground is the brown. This wire here is our signal wire to the starter. That's what that is. That's the signal wire for the starter. Okay, that comes from your ignition. Got it. Now, blue one and a black one. Pick your poison. Blue one and black one. What could they be for? Could be for heated back glass. Could be for the heated back glass solenoid. Blue and black. All right, that's probably what they're for. And if you look at this wire right here, which is one of the big power wires that go right here, it has a little jumper right here, and I guarantee you that's the power that goes to the heated back glass. That's the power that goes to the heated back glass, the little box that goes underneath here. And then these are the trigger wires for that that little relay. Guarantee you. Back glass is grounded on that side. Power wire I don't have run yet. Guarantee you that's what those two are for. Let's have a look in the book and see. But I think I've got this. I think I've got this figured out. Look at that. See what color that is. It just looks like it's got some blue paint on it. That's all. But it's green. Interested to see what the signal wire is, where the signal wire for the generator goes, and what these two wires are. Let's go have a look. Okay. Boring, huh? And I put a couple little clippachkas on these to remind me of the wires that don't fit. So yeah. Well, I didn't think about it, but I got a car back here that I can look at. Okay, you can plainly see the green is our signal wire, brown. Yeah, from the generator right there. Okay, that's good. And then you've got a blue wire. That blue wire plugs into the voltage regulator. Then you have, remember that little wire I showed you that was broke off? It goes into a fuse holder, and that comes around to here, to that, which doesn't really look bad. It looks like it'll probably work still. And then the black wire, the thin black wire. Okay, the blue wire goes in there. The thin black wire is our signal wire. That heavy white wire right there is the wire that goes up to the back glass. So we have power in. It's grounded. There's our signal wire. All right, power all the time. There's our signal, and then up to the yeah. And incidentally, there's the starter signal wire, and there's where it plugs in at right there. So that tells me everything I got to know. Yep. How cool. Okay. Now that looking at that heated back glass, the little solenoid that goes down there, relay that goes down there, I thought I would run a wire for my heated back glass. And so what I did, I had a hole I punched here because I cut this open so I could rip out all that foam up in there, and I kind of used it to rip out all the foam, and then I welded that all back up. But this hole is still there, and I was able to sneak a barbecue skewer, and I put a little fork on the end of it with a piece of wire. There's the piece of wire down there, and I attached it to a piece of primary wire, and so I went from here, and then I went back down and out. We'll pull that down through, and then we'll have our wire for our back glass. The ground wire, which is right there, comes up through the body, and it comes out right there. So I wanted to look at a couple of things before I went and put that voltage regulator in. One, I wanted to see where, okay, here's the voltage regulator in the schematic. I wanted to see if the green wire indeed, and it does, indeed feed the generator, the signal. So that's going to be, that's going to hook there. So that's perfect. That wire is correct. Then there is a blue wire that comes off the front side of that, and you'll know which side is which because there's a double spade here for the positive terminals from the battery and then going up into the chassis to ride. This doesn't set flat, it sets sideways, so whatever sealant I put on this little screw, it doesn't matter because it's going to go on the side. So now I know where that all goes. This blue wire is going to go up to your speedometer, and it's going to provide the ground for your light, for your generator light. Incidentally, these lights are, this set of lights, it has a hot wire going to it up to the fuse box, and they're hot all the time, and they're on if they're grounded. So essentially the turn signal grounds this light and it turns it on. Essentially the voltage regulator grounds this wire, it's your ground wire, until the engine starts and it flicks those points and it shuts it off. Then the light goes off. The same way with your oil switch. All right, now we know how that works. Now I wanted to look at the heated back glass. This is auto stick and a rear window defroster. Okay, here's our defroster, and here is our ground, so we have that wire. And here's the wire, we just put in the white wire, and this is going to go to B, is it B on J9, which is what they're calling J9. Rear window defogger relay. That's the little silver box I showed you last night on the green car. So the switch is under the dash. One wire is coming from the fuse box hot. When you turn the switch on, it passes through and it will light up K10 in the speedometer because it's not powered all the time. This instead is grounded, and then it lights up, and then it comes down here to A, and it signals the relay because the relay is grounded. It signals the relay, and it connects the positive, which is coming off the voltage regulator. It was that little terminal that come off there. So I have to fix that little terminal, and I have to have a wire coming off of there. And then, yeah, should be pretty simple. Okay, so we know what's going on. I'm gonna have to find a switch. So I don't have a switch, but probably have a switch in that car, and I know I have the silver. Okay, I just wanted to check with the book, that's all. Very good. Okay, let's get back to our regulator. All right, there she is mounted. I did a little repair on that wire, shined up our ground, quick connector on the signal going to the generator. Here's our white wire for our heated back glass. This is our signal wire for the starter. This wire, the black wire, is the positive to trigger the relay for the heated back glass. And this wire is the power for the heated back glass coming off of here, which I soldered and heat shrunk. The other terminal right here is this terminal, which I have taped up. And this is going to get a fuse in between it, so that the power coming to here and going up to the front of the car, through this, going up to the front of the car, there's no fuse on it. And so up underneath the dash, where the light switch is, all that's got to do is jump off of there and ground itself to something, and you've got a car fire. There's that huge, heavy gauge wire going all the way down along your carpet, and back here doesn't have a fuse. Ah! Okay, now that we have that finished, I put my little plastic gizmo in. You have to put the little plastic gizmo on first, unless you have mine, which has Giganticus crackicus in it. So it's broken and you can just wrap it around the wires. Okay. Anyways, I also found the correct screws that go into the voltage regulator. Okay, the wiring harness then goes along the edge here and up through the front of the vehicle. So let's put that down, and we'll bring it out the front where the actually it goes, excuse the mess, pardon the mess, it goes in that hole and it comes out that hole right there, and then it goes up through that hole. And I need to find the grommet for that, because there's a grommet that goes down in there. So let's get all that together. There's no grommets down at the bottom though. Just as a little interlude to this, I have received my key to my glove box. So I have keys to the glove box now. Here's the guy you need to contact. He does really good work, and he can cut your key on a code. So the code that was on this lock, I just sent him the code and he cut me a key for it. Yay! I've kind of dusted off and kind of washed my underside here inside the hood, and a couple of things we're going to do. We need to get the grommet on there. I need to test this again and make sure it's okay, the wiper, and then I'm going to put my fuse block in. So let's see if we can find a fuse block for it. All right, I got one. Here's this is a 10. This has 10, and it's correct. So says the schematic. However, the schematic does not say which values are the fuses. Well, I happen to know the values of all the fuses. So let's examine this here really close and see exactly how it's going to go in. And it's going to go in the way it's supposed to go in, if that makes sense. All your electronic connections are going to be, the power going in is going to be a single spade, and the power going out, or the going to the accessory, is going to be multiple. So we have a single terminal here, we have single terminals here, and we have multiples going out. So that means this is going to go front ways. That's going to go front. And I can tell you that this last terminal here, just by experience, this is your radio terminal. This is for your radio. And the terminal next to it is for the flasher relay. And the flasher relay is going to, and that fuse holder's a little ate up, but I cleaned it, and I think it'll work again. And the flasher relay is for the red fuse or the 16 amp. All the rest of the values, this is on a 70 Beetle, is going to be, all the rest of the values on a 70 Beetle are going to be the white fuses, and they are going to be 8 amps. So let's fill this all in with fuses, and we'll clip this in place, and we'll be on our way. It can only go in one way. So it goes in from the outside, and there's a little clip right there at the very end, right there. And if it doesn't, if you've got it painted, you're gonna have to go bump it a little bit, and then it'll clip in place. Or it's supposed to. Let's see here. Well, where's the clip? There we go. So there's how that should go. I don't know what we're going to do next. Oh, rubber plug right there. Got my grommet in, my fuse block in, and my wiper still works. So this is where I'm going to close off on this one. What I have to do next is build a steering wheel, and there's some parts I need to paint before I can do that, and it seems to be a good stopping point right here. So next time we're going to look at the steering column, get that mounted in there, the wiring on it and such like that. And then I think that harness needs to be repaired, and we're going to bring power into the light switch and down to the fuse block. We might even get a couple other little things done, like maybe some lights on the front of the car and maybe a flasher relay or something like that. So this is going to be probably 3 parts, this wiring harness. Anyways, thank you for wrenching with me in my garage, and we're coming along. Things seem to be going pretty well. I know sometimes it feels like 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but we are making progress. So, all right, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for looking. Bye.